Hey y'all, this is the legendary Sonny G, Sonny with an O, not a U.
And this is your boy Sterling Moody.
And we are Effa Podcast.
Effa Podcast.
And thank you for listening to us. So make sure you tune in to Effa Podcast, a real N-word podcast where we talk about
real N-word stuff.
That's it. So make sure y'all tune in.
Effa Podcast.
Effa Podcast. So this is the second show. The second episode of Effa Podcast.
Effa Podcast.
Welcome everybody. And G Wade brought up an interesting question. The end of the last show, he was like, "Do y'all have a beginning and a end?" And we do not. We just kind of just start the show and then the show just ends. Like, do you think we need a beginning and end? Don't we?
Yeah, I mean, but we're not standard podcast because Effa Podcast.
Effa Podcast, like the standard podcast has a beginning and an end, but we are Effa Podcast. We
will eventually because we're just getting started. This is something we're gonna do for a while. So pretty soon we'll have a theme song and it'll be sung by Beyonce.
I think we're gonna be too expensive for her at that point.
Yeah, man.
She's not gonna be able to afford to do our thing. She's gonna want to pay us, and we're not.
We're hey, Beyonce, you can't come to Atlanta. We bought it out. Just like she bought out the hospital. For kids. I know, right?
We're gonna put the shield that they had in Infinity Wars around Wakanda. We're gonna have that around Atlanta.
Yeah. You know what's wild though? The Beehive is the same size as the Wakandan army. Yeah, if not 10 times larger. Yeah. And they will cut you.
Beehive versus Wakandans.
Yeah,
Beehive's gonna win every time.
Yeah, every time. I'm telling you, you ever been stabbed to single ladies? It's horrifying.
Right. No. What's the song? The one where she tells you to put everything to the left. Mm-hmm. Have you watched a legion of women singing that? Like, you feel like you've done something, and you're like, I don't even date any of y'all.
Beyonce has her own church. Like, that's when you know you made it. Like when you get to start your own church. I'm going to start a church, and what we pray to going to be fine. I'm sure it'll be God, but it's going to be God with a little twist on it, just like the Mormons and everybody else.
This sounds like a bartender. This sounds like a church/bar. Like, it's God with a twist.
You know what? I'm not going to lie to you, and I've said this for the longest time. I've always wanted to have a church and strip club in the same building, where it'll be a strip club in the front, and you have to leave through the church. That way they can get saved on the end, like on the ending.
Right.
And then, if they come back to the strip club, they'll be like, oh, man, I just backslid. You know what I'm saying? Where you going? I'm going to go get prayed for. And then, can't nobody be mad if you're going to church. Like, where you going? I'm going to church. It ain't nobody say that you can't have to go to the strip club. Like, you have to go to the strip club to get Jesus now.
I'm almost certain there's some sort of federal law against that. And I don't even mean like a federal law like it's immoral. Mm-hmm. You know how the government does not like anybody having monopolies and stuff? Like, I'm pretty sure that right there would put a monopoly.
Think about the lick on the community, because, see, it's like this. They gonna wash all that drug money.
They would never go home.
Bruh, no. They gonna wash all that drug money through the strip club, and then when you really got to get rid of it, you just pay tithes. So we collect and double in. Like, you know what I'm saying? You can either pay your love offering to, Michelle on the mic, singing hymns, or you can pay your love offering to Candy out here making it clap, before you get to Jesus. You know what I'm saying? It's up to you, so.
But either way,
it's going to God.
Amen. Real quick, we want to give our audio dap this week. You heard her a little bit earlier. Our production manager, Bree.
Yes.
Thank you.
You do a little something out here. Tell the people what's that little something you do.
So I'm a full-time photographer, and also I work in marketing. So I've come on and trying to handle all the production and organization for you guys. So,
and she is organized.
She makes sure everything runs for real, y'all. Y'all do not know.
Way more organized. Like for two potheads with ambition,
for real,
there needs to be somebody in the middle to keep us wrangled, to keep us roped in. And I'm glad we've got her.
Yes, we had
happy to be here.
Yes, we had a mentor tell us that the best thing you can have for you is a female that's on your team, who wants to see you succeed, because you got to think about it. Like, as a dude, two dudes, we're gonna sit here and go like, "Hey man, you want to do this now? I guess we can do that later." You know what I'm saying? Especially two.
Oh yeah, we gonna BS.
Two stoners.
We are gonna BS.
But like Bree, we say, "Hey, what's on the agenda today?" She has a notebook with our life plans in it.
She's writing stuff right now
as
we're speaking.
She texts me when it's time for me to pay my phone bill. For real. See? My lights got cut off one time. I told Bree, she said, when do you got to pay them? This was 2 years ago. My lights have always been paid.
You know what Bree is like? Bree is like a human version of Siri.
Yes.
Like you think you're talking to your phone, but you're talking to an actual real life
Siri
person.
that
you're
you
like,
can pass the blunt to.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're like
perfect.
Bree, where is the studio? Make a left. You're like, okay.
Yes.
Yes. But it's a real person.
It's a real person. Like, it's great because you can sit down and like, you can't tell Siri like, hey man, I'm dealing with a problem. You know what I'm saying? Siri's gonna be like, I don't have an answer for that. Ding. Like, that's it. But you say like, hey Bree, I got a problem. She gonna say, okay, well, what do we need to do to fix that? And then we'll immediately start coming up with a plan.
Ways to fix it. Yeah.
Like, you sitting up here, you were just like, okay, well, I was gonna smoke a blunt till it became bigger and just forgot about it. You know what I'm saying? I'm the type of person, I don't deal with my problems till they take me to court. Like, that's me. But she has changed the whole program. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we have an issue, we just go, hey Bree, what are we supposed to do? And she says, well, we have this to do. And it always works out. So we'll kill somebody for Bree.
Yeah. What is the name of your company, by the way?
It's 3 AM Productions.
Say it again.
It's 3 AM Productions and the Big Cheese Photography.
Big Cheese Photography. 3 AM Productions and Big Cheese Photography.
I like that.
I'm not gonna lie. 3 AM Productions sounds naughty. Like, it sounds like the movies that they play on Cinemax after 12 o'clock.
But I'm gonna tell you what I think of 3 AM Productions. Like, okay, when you're in college and you're like, okay, man, I get this paper, and I know the paper has to get done, but for me to do the paper right, I'm gonna have to stay up to 3 AM. So that's what I'm thinking. 3 AM Productions. You see what I'm saying?
That Bree does strike me as that person.
Bruh, I'm telling you, like, she has never turned in a term paper that was not an A. Like, I feel it. Like,
and they were all done probably at 3 a.m.
3 a.m., man. You know what I'm saying?
I get it now.
The day before, you know what I'm saying? She's the type of person, like, if it says, hey, this needs to be submitted at midnight, the day before at 3 a.m., she's got it ready. You know what I'm saying? Like me, I am a 11:58. Snap, it didn't work. Let me change the time on my computer back and then do it person.
I was the king of making up the points that I missed on tests.
Yeah.
Or no, not on tests, but like on missed assignments. Like, I always make the points I made on assignments, I made up on tests. Because I didn't turn in assignments on time for crap.
Dude.
I have that problem still as a 35-year-old. Like, is there something that you can do for that? Is there a meeting you can go to? Is there...
I mean, like, there is. Like, I've heard about people rewarding themselves with, like, their weed. So, like, what you do is you say, okay, like, I can't smoke till this is done. I mean, I don't do that. I don't live by that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't do that. But you can.
It might help. It might help. So, one thing I wanted to ask about. So, have you seen Dark Phoenix yet?
You know what? I was gonna watch it, and then I looked at some of the reviews, and I'm a big comic book nerd, and it just didn't seem like it was gonna be good. And then I heard a lot of the actors phoned it in, and I tried to watch like the first 15 minutes of it, and I didn't have to walk out of a theater because I was at home. But like I turned it off. I put on anything else.
See, I haven't seen it yet, but I've seen the negative reviews. But here's the thing: like, I don't go by negative reviews because a lot of times people will down something that like 5 years later. Or is like a cult I grew up in the Blockbuster era.
Okay.
Blockbuster was famous for redeeming movies. Like, movies that like sank in the theater or like make millions at Blockbuster on home video. Yeah. So I always give a movie, that second chance. But what I've been seeing about X-Men, I've been seeing like it's a great X-Men movie. It's just not good for Dark Phoenix, the story.
Okay. So we were talking about this, and Dark Phoenix, the way X-Men has always been a space opera when they did it that way. Mm-hmm. Like, if you look at X-Men, there was a lot of dialogue and a lot of exposition, but it was led somewhere, so you could literally take it straight off the page and put it on the screen. Mm-hmm. And they didn't. Like, you don't have to rewrite it. You could literally, like, the fans would be okay with you saying, hey, this has nothing to do with any of the movies we've ever done before. This is new. You can reboot a movie whenever you want. Look at Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four did the 2015 reboot. It was trash. A good example. Hold up. It was trash.
You shouldn't. Matter of fact, Fantastic Four is such a horrible example. You shouldn't use it for anything. Not even Michael B. Jordan. You'd be like, look at Fantastic Four. Like,
I'm gonna tell you why. Okay, it was one of those situations of the first two Fantastic Four movies were campy. They were good for what we had because we had nothing. You know what I'm saying? But then when you look at Fantastic Four 2015, it was an idea that they were really trying to go with, but didn't have a creative team that had a background in comic books and film in a blend that wouldn't work. You know, it worked well enough. People thought about a lot of, merchandising and stuff, but not really making sure that we liked the characters enough to buy the merchandise.
Right.
So when it came to, Spider-Man, a character that everybody liked, because a lot of people don't know this, but everyone loved the Fantastic Four in the 90s. In the 90s, everyone was like, oh man, the Thing was huge. He was in all the Incredible Hulk stories. You know what I'm saying? They all, the Human Torch was around Spider-Man a lot. They were in Iron Man.
Without getting too much into Fantastic Four though, so with X-Men, like the movies, there's the old trilogy and then there's the new trilogy. Like, how do you feel like the new trilogy stacks up?
Okay, so the old trilogy was, again, great, and you got to look at this with a little bit of nostalgia too, because like the old trilogy was new. We had never seen mutants ever. You know what I'm saying? When Wolverine popped his claws, it was like, oh my god! Like, they had a scene where he pulled, his claws came out and you saw them cut through his hand.
Right,
to go out, time. And it made it real. It was like, okay, this isn't a comic book. This is real. Storm, Halle Berry as Storm.
Trash.
It was trash. It was phoned in. It was phoned in. It was phoned in.
Complete trash.
But it was cool because we saw a black female superhero. So that was it. It was
cool.
You
have to remember, when that came out, that was before a lot of the other superhero movies. So it was good.
Look, Halle Berry as Storm is better than Halle Berry as Catwoman, and we can all agree on that.
True. Okay.
We're all on the same page.
That's where we go.
Well, see, and the thing was, so the only real X-Men example that we had was the cartoon, which was phenomenal.
Exactly.
The cartoon in the 90s was like the ultimate.
Exactly.
It's everything you wanted from X-Men. All the stories, they came close enough to the comics, and whatever they did change, you didn't care because it was still good enough. And so the movies was kind of like us hoping that something live action lived up to what we had on the cartoon.
Yeah.
And I feel like they did enough right, like even for what they did get wrong, like Halle Berry and her ever changing accent.
Yeah.
From Kenyan to Jamaican to whatever she felt like speaking at the time, to the stupidest line ever in comic book movie history: what happens to a toad when it's struck by lightning? Same thing as everything else.
Now I'm gonna tell you, aesthetically, I like the new Storm better. The new Storm.
What is her name? Alexandria Ship.
If you look, the new Storm. The way that they do her scenes is dope. Like, I mean, it really looks like it came straight off the page. Like, when you look at it, the only difference is she's younger. But when you look at it, you're like, this is fire, because she, she's playing that part in the movies that she's done well in. You know what I'm saying? Now, I haven't seen Dark Phoenix. I heard that everyone phoned in their whole role. So I'm a little nervous about that. Even from the commercial, when I saw Emma Frost looked like she was reading right off a cue card. You
know what threw me off immediately? It's the only X-Men movie that doesn't start with X-Men. It's not X-Men Dark Phoenix. It's just Dark Phoenix. It's like they're trying to distance. Don't call this an X-Men movie. This is, it just happens to have the X-Men in it, but it's Dark Phoenix.
Man, it was so. I mean, it's so stupid because they clearly were trying to set up for the whole cosmic thing with the Phoenix, because you have the whole Shi'ar Empire. You have where they go out and they really out in the cosmos, and they're dealing with where they killed people on another planet, and it comes back to bite the X-Men with the Brood and stuff like that.
Right.
We were never going to get that far. As an X-Men movie series,
they just didn't have that. That's a whole other trilogy in and of itself. They would have to have the end game type ambitions
MCU.
to do that. What is it? The Shi'ar Empire saga. That's its own whole. You have to, definitely.
Marvel did it best, because Marvel said, instead of us giving you linear movies, we're going to give you maybe 4 different franchises of groups. So we have Iron Man, Thor, Captain America. Captain America has his own thing. Iron Man has his own thing. Thor has his own thing. Then they were like, okay, well, now that you guys have understood that these characters are good. Let's give Iron Man some of his buddies. Okay, so we got Rhodey. You know what I'm saying? We got Falcon with Cap. You know what I'm saying? When it came to Thor, we got Loki. And a lot of people don't know how big of a player Loki was, but Loki, you know, we got him, and he was only a super bad guy because of the Mind Stone. So when you sit down and you say, okay, they built these foundations outright. When Marvel decided to go cosmic, they had everything established where when you see what the realm of possibility is on Earth with the wild technological stuff that we've done, when we do space, you know, it's not that far from belief, because you're like, okay, well, I see how they got to space and we don't know what's out in space. So when everyone first watched Guardians of the Galaxy, when they picked up Peter Quill in the beginning, everyone was like, he's in space, he's on another planet. Oh, okay, it's aliens, it's all types of people. This is normal, because they established it well in the beginning. Like, hey, this is.
We already had aliens coming from space in Avengers 2, so it already made sense that we see aliens. Speaking of Marvel, though, Marvel now has the rights to the X-Men franchise back. So what do you think Marvel can do, like, to make sure that we get the X-Men movie we deserve? Because I feel like, all right, so first is you know, the casting. They got to get the casting of everything. But there are characters that I want to see done right that we didn't get to see done right the last time. Like, I don't feel like Beast has been done right yet completely. Like, Kelsey Grammer was what he was.
Nightcrawler.
Nightcrawler hasn't been done completely. Alan Cumming was pretty good, but they made him more of a circus freak than, you know, the Nightcrawler I like is like the swashbuckling pirate.
Everyone likes that. They call him a sexiest Nightcrawler when he was dressed like the pirate.
Oh yeah,
yeah. A lot of people like that character, especially in that garb. I think the X-Men, when they're done by Marvel, it's going to be cool, because Marvel seems to know how to blend comics perfectly. Where, you know, you don't want to put the X-Men in black leather. They have to have their own, you know, character design. Or like, no one is going to buy 6 variations of a black leather doll. But if you look at the way Marvel did their merchandising, it was okay. You got Iron Man and his 43 suits. You know what I'm saying? So everyone was like, okay, man, you got a bunch of
Spider-Man.
You know what I'm saying? Like, Spider-Man's got he's got the noir suits. You know, he's got his Iron Spider. He's got his stealth spider. Not like, that's not the noir suit. It's just the black and red. You know, yeah. Like, he's got all these different variations, and that's the thing with how I think they're going to bring in the Marvel cinematic mutants. So that's what I'm you know, considering them the Marvel cinematic mutants, because you have like your Fox mutants and you have your Marvel mutants. And I think the way Marvel is going to do it is it's going to be a little bit grounded in mysticism. So it's not going to just be, you know, like genes. I'm sure it's going to be some cosmic mysticism going on, because that's the way Marvel has done it so far. It's been, you have science.
That's going to make a lot of people mad.
I was going to say, I hope they don't focus too much on that.
That's gonna
well, see, this is the way you can do it, and it works.
Hopefully, because they've introduced in Endgame the whole multi-dimensional thing. Since we don't know about mutants in our universe, hopefully one of the other dimensions had, like, mutants is just a common thing.
Well,
I think X-Men's going to have their own universe, and that's the only way they can do it successfully because they already have. Spider-Man's going to do that, it seems like, with the multiverse.
That's what I was thinking. You know, Spider-Man, they in the commercial, they talk about how Mysterio's from a different place in the multiverse, and the snap fractured everything. So what you could do is this. You have 2 ways to bring the mutants in. You have the snap disrupted some type of spell or something, apocalypse or some type of Omega did.
It could have changed genes. It could have very well manipulated.
Definitely.
That's it. Whatever.
Because just real quick, one thing that nobody thinks about. Okay, so did Peter's whole class snap with him, or was it just
half?
Because well, here's the thing though, because everybody comes back the same age. Like, nobody the 5-year gap didn't change any of the students. The teachers apparently the whole school has the same staff and everything, and nobody's surprised. Well, you know, that somebody's 5 years older.
Well, that's supposed to be addressed immediately in Far From Home.
Okay.
So they're gonna, you know, they're basically gonna be like, hey, these kids, half your class is gone. The other, they progressed. Everyone's like, hey man, we had a great time. The kids that were right there with Spider-Man on the field trip to DC are probably going to be the kids that are like, hey man, we all got snapped away together. Like it's just going to work like that. Which I can get behind. I can get behind that. So, that's a great way to open it up. You do the multiverse. You say the multiverse. You could even say something with the time stone, when they went back in time or anything triggered mutations in or ripple in time with mutations.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then you can say, okay, now
some of the people who got snapped away and came back, they came back mutated.
Yeah. What do you think about what would be your way to introduce mutants into the MCU, Bree?
I think the multiverse thing with Mysterio is going to be the way. If he's traveling from dimension to dimension, I think that'll open up, like you said earlier, just one dimension that already has mutants. And I think the best way for Marvel to do it at this point is I think they have to understand that people that watch these movies are typically comic book fans. We don't need another origin story of the X-Men. Right. They can jump right in one of the storylines. They don't have to start over again, recast it, but they don't have to start over from the beginning.
We don't have to see Scott getting bullied again. Like every time they reboot it, we have to see Scott's traumatic experience where he, gets his eye power, and it's like we know this already. We know Uncle Ben dies. We don't have to see that again. Thank the new Spider-Man for not putting us through that again.
See, this is what I would do. I would straight skip the entire first generation of X-Men, and I would only keep. I would have them as references in the movie where they're mentioned and stuff.
I can get behind that. So you would have
so when they
Wolverine, Storm, Colossus.
That's it. So because it would be the reason why I would do it that way is because if you leave out Scott, you leave out Jean Grey, you just don't worry about them at all, and then you have it come in where boom, when the snap came in, everybody was already in this universe at this time. Logan has already been old, so we don't have to go into the Wolverine origins. We never need to go into the Wolverine origins.
So you go straight to Cable and people like that?
Go straight to Cable. Go straight to, I would go straight to Cable. I would go straight to the Juggernaut. I would go straight to, Kang the Conqueror. I would go straight to, actual real threats. I'd probably do, one of the things I would do is Brood Saga. X-Men were going through space. Snap, boom. Okay, when the snap happened, X-Men came back. They came into this. We had an incursion, like they do in the comics, where two realities collide. They call it an incursion, and so we have an incursion. Boom. Everyone is the two Earths merge. Oh snap! We got these people here as mutants from this other planet. Other planet Earth. Them being here has triggered the mutation effect in the MCU. When that happens, you say, okay, we have these already established mutants. These new mutants will come in. So that way you can say, okay, well, where'd you come from? Well, on our Earth, we had this and happened. Okay, now you get to say, because we never did the whole, secret invasion thing with the Skrull, you can have the Brood Saga, where the Brood come in and possess people, and you don't know who's a Brood. So they go, okay, the snap happened. We came back from space. Boom, the Brood are here.
You would use the Brood like the comics used Skrulls, basically.
Yes. So the Brood come in. The Avengers like, what is this threat? We find out, hey, there's a mutant specialist who actually had dealt with this. What are mutants? We came from this universe. Or you have a news thing where it's like, boom, M-Day, where it's like, hey, everyone everyone is now just a mutant. Like we have this much population of mutants. People are getting persecuted for it because they don't know where it came from. We find out that hey, it came from this other planet where the mutants got here, triggered it. Boom. You never have to go into how the mutants get here again. It can be a 5-minute thing.
So one thing you said earlier when you were saying skip the original 5, you know what that does? That automatically makes you have to skip the whole having to diversify the X-Men problem, because the first 5 students were all white. So if you start with them, immediately you run into that problem. How can we make this diverse? And, you know, what do we, you know, there's no way to diversify that first class unless you like change one of their, and no matter who you change, they're going to be pissed. Like Bobby's the carefree white guy. Warren's the rich, spoiled white guy. Scott's the Boy Scout. Like all of them are archetypes of white people.
This is what you do.
You can't change them.
This is what you do. You still have Malcolm X and Martin Luther King take place with the civil rights thing in the 60s. You have mutant civil rights kick off after 1995. So they have a whole new, hey, mutants are getting killed in the streets, mutant lives matter. That all starts in 95. So every X-Men story starts in 1995. The team is formed in 1995. Yeah, you know, Magneto might have been alive during the civil rights thing, but he was alive much later. So basically, a lot of the events that happened later on. We'll do the Holocaust happen in the 50s instead of happening in, you know, the 20s. But see, if you slide everything up, it makes it where, okay, well, we're here in real
That's
time.
the problem with using actual historical events and actual people, because once you start doing that, people get super. The only time people don't mind that is when you change something black. Mm-hmm. But when you start changing like everybody else's history and timelines, you get all kinds of pushback for that. They're like, oh no, the Holocaust did not happen in the 50s. You know, like you can go, hey, let's do a story where slavery happened in the 90s all day long, and, you know, people get, like, pissed, but it'll still go on the air. But if you, like, try to make the Holocaust happen in the 90s, like, immediately, that's... Whoever suggested that is getting fired. The studio's getting shut down. But it's going to be like that episode of Making the Band. It's like, I got some bad news. The studio's shut down.
But you see where it makes sense from like a film standpoint, because you could go, hey, Snap did it. Also, Time Zone had ripple effects, so we've pulled all these people from different times to here as mutants. You know what I'm saying? Like you can do it like that. So it could be like, I mean, either way, they're gonna have to address the whole skewed mutant timeline, because the Marvel Cinematic Universe takes a very, very, very big precedent on how long time has passed with movies. Like when you look at the Captain America movies, it's like, it's been 6 months, it's been 3 years, and they stick with those time frames. So you can literally look at the Marvel Cinematic Universe and go, Tuesday, this day, Thor did this. Because I think Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America all take place within like a week of each other. Or like a month of each other, like the first 3 movies.
See, now you're out nerding me.
I mean, like
you know, in the movies, the timeline. All I get is this happened, some time passed, this happened.
Nah,
and
they all happen right then. Like that's why the Avengers kicked off so hard, because if you look and when they do the whole fight, you know, it just straight up boom. Like it was relatively like, hey, this is all going on right now. There's an MCU timeline on the Marvel Wiki you can check out, and it tells you like these are the exact dates of every event in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
All right. Well, we are coming to the end of Effa Podcast. We want to thank our production manager Bree one more time for chiming in. Make sure that y'all what is your Instagram and everything for your business?
At Breathe the Cheese.
At Breathe the Brietha Cheese CHEESE. One more time.
It's at Breathe the Cheese BRIETHA CHEESE.
This is how slow I thought I was a real nerd, but she said Breathe the Cheese, and I'm thinking Breathe the Cheese like camera, Breathe the Cheese like Bree the cheese.
See? Exactly.
All right, that's how slow I am. And then my homeboy, my player partner Sterling, where can I find you, man?
You know, you can get me on Instagram at Sterling Moody. You can follow me on Facebook at Comedian Sterling Moody. That's STERLINGMOODY. Just check me out, y'all. Like, you can find a lot of stuff you're gonna like. You're gonna see a lot of weird comedy, and you can get to know me as a person.
And I am the legendary Sonny G, Sunny with a O, not you. I gotta find a new tagline for that. Like, what are all the things that Sunny with the reason I came up with that is because you've never seen a guy spell Sunny, but for some reason every time somebody spells my name, it's spelled with a U.
Yeah, I can see a dude being spelled like Sunny, but that Sunny is also a murderer, and that's an ironic nickname.
But it's Trap Nerd Sunny on all social media, and comedian Sunny G at ymail.com. Thank you for listening to Effa Podcast, and we will see y'all again next week. Take care.
Woo.
This is the legendary Sunny G, and thank you for tuning in to Effa Podcast. You can also go ahead and follow us at Trap Nerd ENT on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You can also go to our Patreon if you enjoy what we do and make a donation. Patreon.com/TrapNerdENT, and be on the lookout for future events. Sign up for our email list at trapnerdent@gmail.com. Again, thank you for listening. Y'all be cool like how y'all be cool.